When I started trading 5 years ago, I thought I could take one simple setup, do that daily, and at the end of the month have an income. Turns out that was not the case. Fast forward to today, I realized you need to have in your trade setup something that can trade when the market is in continuation and when the market is in pullbacks. And in today's video, I want to discuss how to trade a pullback entry. This entry is something I've used over the past 3 years and have live recorded data live on stream that I do daily with a 72% win rate. I'm going to explain exactly how this simple setup works, when to use it, and why, especially in current market conditions that we have seen. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly my pullback entry setup. Hope you guys enjoy. And if you find it interesting, definitely stick around to the end of the video and enjoy. So when it comes to pullback entries, it's not as complex as people may seem. You just need to include fundamental steps that have been tested and stuff that you don't drastically change the whole overall process of what you're looking at. The number one step when you come to a chart, as we can see, this is gold in current price action today. We can see it is ranging on higher time frames. We are lacking the continuation. So in these type of conditions, we might be favorable to be trading on pullbacks, not trying to buy highs where they fail. So the first thing we need to do is identify where do we have obstacles, right? Obstacles meaning rejection, retest points, because when you trade a pullback, that pullback can come towards a zone. And we do that by doing something called our markup. So a simple markup is going to look something like this. So I always start on the daily time frame here. Extremely important for me. I want to mark my daily support and resistance. In this case here, we only have one line to mark. All we do is we look left. If you have watched my videos in the past, you will see this again and again and again. But for pullback entries, it's really important because we want to see potential retest zones. So we know that we have a daily support down here, right? This is our potential daily support. We can mark this as DS, right? So I like to mark this as DS. The next time frame you're going to go down to is also the 4-hour time frame. So let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see we have this previous rejection zone here. This is going to be our previous 4 hour. So I'm going to put this as previous 4 hour. And we're only looking at most recent. And then we have a 4-hour support down here as well. 4-hour support down here. So the next step is going to be go down to 1-hour time frame. We can see a 1-hour time frame resistance right here. And we mark this as 1 hour. Okay, so we mark this as 1 hour. So this is common to get fooled by this, and this is actually something that I was even fooled in. Why I'm using this example, because this is where a pullback strategy would be really important. We can see market failing to continue, close above the high, fail to continue. Now we close above the high on the 1 hour, but it will fail to continue, and that's just because of the market conditions. As market goes through cycles, sometimes we're not in a continuation phase. We like to pull back before. So here's the important thing. Number one thing, we've done our markup, okay? We understand where's potential resistance zones. We know where our 4 hours are. We know where our 4-hour supports. What is nice about this is now we're going to start to drop onto the time frames we want to take the trade. But before doing so, we need to understand what direction can we take pullbacks. We need to have something called bias. Now, bias is something I explain in every single one of my videos. But if you are looking for buys, you need to make sure you either have the previous daily bullish or the previous 4-hour bullish. So in this case, we can see previous daily was actually bearish, but our previous 4-hour was indeed bullish here. So since we have a previous 4-hour bullish, we can look for buys. If both the daily were bearish and the 4-hour were bearish, I can't take a buy setup because it's going against a bias rules, okay? Same thing for sells. If they're both closing the same direction, even better, right? So the entry for this can be anywhere from 1 hour, 30 or 15 minute. I most commonly use 15-minute time frame here. Reason being is because I find it better to find a trade in the session. Now we want to be taking these in sessions. What that means is that we want to be taking it in a session where there's going to be volume, right? Whether that be London or New York session. When it comes to taking pullback entries, we want to make sure that it's something that's been happening in the market. If not, you trade continuation. It's very important as a trader to identify if there's continuation or pullbacks. But this is how this pullback entry works. So we can identify pullbacks have been the case here. So we come to the market and the market has pulled back here, okay? We see it pull back into the bottom of the range here, and now we start to form a support. Where have we retested? Very important. We don't buy the breakout here. Well, usually you would, but we know that this is a pullback situation because we've been pulling back and we're looking for a pullback setup. And especially, let's say you come to the market right here. This is a beautiful scenario to come to the market because now you know that we have two very important things to give us this pullback entry. The number one thing is here on 15-minute time frame, we have broken structure. A break of structure is showing you that we are going in an uptrend. It is breaking structure here. How do we confirm break of structure? You mark the last resistance and you need one candle closing above that resistance to count as a break of structure. We then pull back. That pullback is going to create these clean candles. These clean candles is exactly the range you want to trade. You have to have clean candles. If a pullback looks messy like this, you can't take this trade here, even though it worked out, but you don't know. It could reject off any one of those and you can end up in a fake out or a lower high, making your trade fail. So we wait for the pullback here. This is the next step. The next step we need to wait for is a support candle to form. What do I mean by that? I need one 15-minute candle to close bullish minimum. Okay, I can make a part 2 where I talk about 5-minute structure and get more into depth. Let me know in the comments and leave a like if you're enjoying so far. But I want to explain to you the most common setup and the one that basically is the simplest to understand and to get you guys started and looking at pullback trades. So 15-minute candle close bullish. In this case, the problem with this 15-minute candle close is it's closing below this previous one here. You could literally take it on this understanding we've retested 4-hour support, but these are all confirmations. So let's recap so you guys don't get lost. Number 1, pullback. We need a pullback to take a pullback entry. Number 2, we broke structure first. So we broke structure towards the upside. We pulled back, created a support. Retesting 4-hour, that's a positive. That's why we did our markup. Now we have this previous. I prefer a close above there. So in this case, for this example, I'm going to show you the close above there. You could have got a way of taking it here with a bit more in-depth analysis, but let's keep it clean and simple. We closed above this resistance. Your entry will be break of high, stop loss below the candle low, and your target should be ideally next resistance here. Now we can see this is negative risk to reward, 0.89. So that's fine. We can ask price to push past it, and if it doesn't, we will just move our stop loss to break even, meaning we move our stop loss to entry, meaning we don't lose anything, we don't make anything, but we gave volume to have a shot to push past it, right? And once we break out, you can even target your next level here. It is even possible, but not to be greedy. I like to look for that 1-to-1 first, and then with these trades, if you have bigger targets, you can easily be getting 1-to-2s, etc. Actually, this week, I'm going to show you an example of a trade I took this week. That trade returned a 1-to-2. I'll show you another example of a same trade this week that easily returned a 1-to-2 as well. So depending on your range, where your next resistance is, that would allow you to push to a 1-to-2. So if I have the next resistance high, I can push for a 1-to-2. If my next resistance is close like this, I can't push for that all the time. Okay. So next step here is going to basically get entered into the trade. So you got entered into the trade there, held a little bit of drawdown, and then boom, that's your gift there. Beautiful candle towards the upside, and you can see this ended up giving a 1-to-2 there, like I said. But at the time, you know, you could expect it to fill the range if you wanted to. So I'm just saying, as a rule of thumb, if you want a safe, consistent over time, 1-to-1s are always going to give you consistent, and then you can trail and extend for that 1-to-2 because we're entering on a pullback. So hopefully that makes sense. I want to dive straight into examples to keep this rolling and keep this video short. It's basically 3 steps we look for. Step number 1, break of structure. Step number 2, pullback. Step number 3, support formed. So let's go see another example of that. So if I bring your attention here, and you can see here we have number 1, the break of structure, right? Step number 1, the break of structure. So here's another example that happened this week as well. As you can see here, that 3-step method, break of structure, pullback, resistance formed with a 1 candle. I usually prefer, you need an extra confirmation. I do prefer a deeper candle close here, but in this case, we got the resistance form, 1 candle closing bearish, stop loss above the high, and that's your entry. And this also did return a 1-to-2 here as well, as you can see. So that's another example. I want to also show you on our journal. So if we go to the journal, this is all the trades I've taken live on YouTube here. We can see setup number 2, which is my nickname for this type of pullback setup, has a 72% win rate of all the trades I've taken live using this setup. So it's a pretty high accuracy entry if you get it right and when it appears in the market, right? So if we go in my journal, this is a trade that I took this week here, as we can see. So I took the same pullback entry, break of structure, pullback, and then in this case, I waited for 2 candles to close bullish. Then I entered break of high. That was the trade. I took this actually on DAX here. I should have held for more than a 1-to-2. As we can see, I actually closed out here at a 1 to 1.3. I could have held for that full 1-to-2, but I didn't want to be greedy and wanted to be paid. So that was that same trade that we basically just discussed, happened in a different scenario there. So there's actually a little bit more that there is involved into trading pullbacks and to pullback entries, lower time frame stuff like that. I normally leave that for more detailed webinars that I share with guys in my exclusive group, as it's normally 40-minute videos and YouTube simply does not favor those type of things. So I managed to give as much information as possible and also set you guys up with a strategy that actually works and not try hide information from you. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a subscribe if you found something useful. Take care, trade sharp, and hopefully catch you guys very, very soon. Peace.